The husband's perspective, like, hey, obviously, like, this guy's gay, no hard feelings, it's a sight to be seen. He wants to be completely dismissed from the lawsuit. He wants out on the lawsuit. It's still happening. It's still going on. Here he is in a more clear picture of him kissing Andrew Garfield for the same reasons.
Ryan Reynolds just couldn't contain himself anymore after his close pal Hugh Jackman dropped some major truth bombs about their shared history. Apparently, it's been a total nightmare for Reynolds, but let's be honest, Jackman isn't losing sleep over it, especially after being ditched by Ryan and losing his Marvel role. Now, all this drama basically slaps a big label on Ryan's complicated sexuality, his ego, and of course, Blake stepping in as his convenient beard. And to be real, Hugh Jackman was never meant to get tangled up in the madness surrounding Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's lawsuit.
They've leaked all these text messages.
Initially, Jackman's deposition looked like a tiny, almost irrelevant piece of the puzzle. He was only there because of his skits for It Ends With Us, right? He got pulled into the chaos solely due to his ties with Reynolds and Lively's movie project. It was supposed to be brief and slightly awkward, a mere legal formality, but that's definitely not how things went down. Somehow, Hollywood's golden boy, Ryan Reynolds, dragged Hugh Jackman into something way bigger than anyone saw coming.
Are these two headed for divorce?
The so-called bromance between these two has always been a hot topic. Fans couldn't get enough. But what people didn't see, and what's slowly coming to light, is a much darker undercurrent beneath their friendly banter.
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed, and I suspect that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous, and I'll tell you why.
Reynolds didn't just rope Jackman into a few amusing sketches. There's a lot more behind that involvement. As the case goes deeper, Jackman's name keeps popping up, and it's not a good look for the beloved Wolverine actor.
Hugh Jackman was also in the now infamously cringe It Ends With Us promotional skit that had nothing to do with promoting the movie, which was about domestic violence, where Ryan directed it and he brought in his mom and Blake was in the background. We learned that.
The impact of this lawsuit could prove far worse for Jackman than anybody imagined, and it's not confined to legal troubles. His Marvel future is suddenly hanging by a thread. More shocking, though, is that Jackman didn't exactly stay in the passenger seat. He secretly leaked vital info to Candace Owens.
Ryan Reynolds' bromances, his various bromances over the years. We've talked about him and Jake Gyllenhaal, and obviously this has been a bromance that has been very much thrown in the public's face.
This wasn't a little heads up. Jackman was actively working behind the scenes. But was his motive pure self-preservation, or did he want to drag Reynolds down too? Either way, the moral of the story is crystal clear. Best friends aren't always there to catch you. When the pressure's on, they'll throw each other under the bus if it benefits them. Jackman's career might be in jeopardy, but he's making sure Reynolds faces his share of heat in the process.
Ryan's kind of perpetually highly publicizing his bromances is something that I find to be quite strange, right? Mostly because he's a 48-year-old man, Ryan Reynolds. He has 4 kids, and he seems to dedicate a lot of time and resources, like financial resources, to trying to convince the public that these bromances are perfectly normal.
Now, let's switch gears to the legal strategy Blake Lively's team is using. This entire situation feels like a battle over who can hide the most dirt, and so far, her side is playing the game like pros.
Kind of making a lot of gay jokes and like trying to normalize all of these gay jokes, but nobody's actually asking him to do that. Not the gay community or the heterosexual community.
They tried labeling some documents as attorney's eyes only, AEO, to block access to potentially harmful material. That's a go-to strategy in lawsuits, but it also shows just how frantic things have gotten.
They've leaked all these text messages.
The judge stepped in and said these AEO labels need to be strictly limited, and any lawyers who want to keep certain files hidden must give strong reasons.
Oh, he's gay. Oh, yeah, see, straight guys don't say that.
That decision basically unlocked even more revelations, and it's super clear those disclosures could shake the case to its core.
Gay guys are great,
I love gay guys. There's also bad ones because they're just normal people. I have zero problem. There's nothing wrong with being gay in any way, but he definitely is.
It wasn't just about covering up delicate details, it was about bringing to light what's really going on behind the curtain. Hugh Jackman's personal life has also been a massive talking point for ages, and it's taken another big turn. After 26 years of marriage, his divorce rocked Hollywood. But it wasn't just a normal celeb split. The media made the most of it, stirring up rumor after rumor about Jackman. Even though the official reasons are private, it hasn't stopped the gossip from exploding everywhere. This time, people seemed less focused on the divorce itself, and more fixated on Jackman's personal life, especially the questions around his sexuality. Since the breakup, the media has been buzzing about whether Jackman is hiding who he really is. Some insiders have hinted that Jackman could be concealing his real self, citing his tight-knit bond with Ryan Reynolds and his interactions with other Hollywood figures. This speculation has spurred widespread chatter, with some even suggesting that Jackman's relationship with Reynolds might go beyond mere friendship. For now, Jackman's not saying a word, but the rumors keep swirling, much to his PR team's frustration. Apparently, these stories about Jackman's sexuality might be intentionally planted by someone who wants to keep him neatly in line with a specific public image. Owens specifically brought up Jackman's relationship with Sutton Foster, his younger partner, as part of a carefully orchestrated narrative. Foster, who started seeing Jackman post-divorce, checks every box of the perfect PR girlfriend, meant to counter the gossip about Jackman's private life. According to Owens, this could very well be a move by Jackman's PR squad to lock in his image as a straight, family-centered guy. PR spins are nothing new in Hollywood. Stars are often pressed to craft certain stories to stay in the good graces of fans, even if those stories don't exactly match reality. In Jackman's world, the chatter about his orientation is actively managed by his team. Still, the rumors aren't dying out, especially since more people are starting to poke around in his past. Now, let's bring Ryan Reynolds back into the spotlight. He's been yanked into this saga, and not just because of Hugh Jackman. The lawsuit by Ryan Reynolds is under serious fire from Justin Baldoni, director of It Ends With Us. Baldoni's lawsuit alleges defamation, extortion, and messing with contractual relationships. These charges trace back to things Reynolds supposedly said about Baldoni during filming, including calling him a predator, which triggered the defamation angle. That's no small issue. If these accusations hold water, Reynolds' career could take a heavy hit. Reynolds claims he truly thought those things about Baldoni, which is why he said them in the first place. But believing something doesn't always protect you in court. The logic that a public figure can't defame someone if they think it's true is weak at best. His legal team is pushing a First Amendment defense, but that line gets blurry when it edges into defamation. That he's a narcissist, he's a. Music. Ryan Reynolds has long been seen as the epitome of Hollywood charm, with his easy jokes and lighthearted persona. Still, his comedic presence has raised eyebrows about the homosexual undertones people catch in his public skits. Over time, Reynolds has performed in a bunch of sketches and public moments that some feel suggest something deeper than just harmless comedy. A prime example is his playful kiss with Andrew Garfield in a comedic bit. In those scenarios, Reynolds might kiss or flirt with male co-stars, which many view as leaning into a homoerotic vibe, sparking bigger questions about his identity. Candace Owens, always outspoken, has jumped on this topic, implying that these stunts aren't mere jokes, they're part of a carefully shaped public image Reynolds has cultivated. She says Reynolds leans into these homosexual undertones for two reasons. It keeps him looking fun, relatable, and modern, while also leaving a cloud of mystery over who he truly is. In a world that's more and more open to diverse sexual orientations, Reynolds seems to be capitalizing on the moment. But is it all an elaborate PR tactic, or is he wrestling with real personal truths? His moment with Garfield really stands out. At a 2017 press event for Deadpool 2, Reynolds went in for a kiss on Garfield's lips, prompting laughs but also making some spectators uneasy. And that wasn't the first time. Reynolds has a track record of comedic sketches where he flirts or kisses other guys, throwing more fuel on the fire. So the looming question is, are these hints of a hidden side, or just another storyline for the hilarious straight guy? Owens doesn't stop there. She believes Reynolds might be using these comedic bits to cover up his real orientation, and it may backfire on him someday. She points out that consistently mixing jokes with innuendo just keeps people guessing about his true self. Maybe it's his way of diverting attention from issues he'd rather keep under wraps. But why bother hiding it at all? In a time when LGBTQ+ rights are front and center, why would someone like Reynolds, who banks on being genuine, choose secrecy? Owens isn't convinced he's doing it just for laughs or to stay current. She thinks Reynolds is cautiously controlling his image to stay untouchable while still tiptoeing around his sexuality. It adds another layer to his persona, leaving folks to wonder if the real punchline is on him or on his fans. Yet, the buzz around his sexuality isn't the only thing ruffling feathers. Reynolds has also faced accusations of manipulative, strong-arm tactics, sparking deeper concerns about how he truly operates off-camera. Sound. Candace Owens claims Reynolds has resorted to extortion to sway film projects and tweak scripts for his own gain. She specifically calls out his role in It Ends With Us, already wrapped in controversy thanks to legal tangles and backstage dramas. Owens maintains that Reynolds' demands went well beyond the usual star requests. He supposedly threatened to bail on the movie unless they met his terms, including script rewrites that reflected his own input. The biggest demand? Adding a scene he wrote himself. While Hollywood power plays are nothing new, repeated episodes of "Do This" or "I'm Out" can tarnish even the biggest star's reputation if it becomes a pattern. Seen from this angle, Reynolds takes on the role of a potential bully. Despite his reputation for witty humor, people are starting to notice a different side in his dealings with colleagues, especially Justin Baldoni. Baldoni, director of It Ends With Us, has been very open about his dislike for how Reynolds treated him. Owens suggests this is not just a one-off incident. It might be part of a larger scheme for Reynolds to maintain his foothold in Hollywood's intense environment. Usually, his charming public persona has shielded him from significant blowback. Then came the TikTok leak of Reynolds' text messages, drawing fresh attention to what might really be going on. A TikTok user dissected these messages, hinting that the language points to a man struggling with self-acceptance, especially around his sexuality. They noticed particular words and phrases that could signal he's hiding a deeper truth. On the surface, these texts look like standard Hollywood banter. But if you dig a little, you see patterns indicating someone who may be closeted. In personal conversations, Reynolds seems to use certain phrases and humor that some interpret as veiled self-protection. While these bits could be brushed off as harmless jokes, it's tough to ignore they come from someone who has spent years dodging rumors about his orientation. So the label closeted might not be that far-fetched after all. The way these messages read, it seems like Reynolds is holding something back. His tendency to be overly polished or to downplay serious emotions makes it look like there's a gap between his public face and his real self. Candace Owens, known for exposing Hollywood facades, dived right in when these texts emerged. She focused on the emotional undercurrents in Reynolds' wording and how it ties into his broader personal narrative. Owens argues that these leaked messages reinforce how Reynolds has been staging an image for public consumption, one that might clash with his internal reality. The texts also hint that he's quietly wrestling with his own identity, something you'd never guess from his flawless public persona as the fun-loving actor, husband, and dad. Behind the scenes, though, a different story might be unfolding, a story about a man grappling with his own sense of self. The timing of these leaks couldn't be worse, dropping just as Reynolds is under a magnifying glass due to his messy legal troubles. As for Blake Lively, this legal battle has put massive strain on her relationship with Reynolds. Insiders say you can practically feel the tension. Some sources claim they're living apart because of the constant pressure. Word is Lively's mental health is shaky. Her legal team says she's anxious, overwhelmed, and scared. The emotional fallout hasn't just hit her, it's reached their kids as well, who are reportedly struggling with the public circus around their family. Each new development piles on more stress, and you can see it in how they behave in public and talk to the press. Reynolds himself is facing heavy backlash. Even though he's tried to paint himself as the victim here, a lot of observers think he's not being honest about his own part in this chaos. The criticism aimed at both Reynolds and Lively got louder after he filed a motion to dismiss the defamation charges, widely panned for being contradictory. The argument is that there's no defamation if Reynolds believed what he said about Baldoni, but critics say that logic falls flat. This legal miscalculation only thickens the tension and further damages how people see Reynolds and Lively. The ongoing court drama involving Reynolds, Lively, and Baldoni keeps unspooling, each fresh detail adding to the frenzy. Yet the leaked texts might be the biggest bombshell of all, shining a light on Reynolds' personal struggles. So, do you believe Hugh Jackman orchestrated the leak? Since only Ryan and Jackman had access, it's a pretty short list of suspects. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.